fighting for freedom every day. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Would you please, I'll answer your question if you be quiet and let me make a statement, okay?
What kind of crack do you normally smoke, Mr. Biden?
I think that's one of my new favorite clips now. What kind of crack do you usually smoke, Mr. Biden? I'm telling you, the media is they're fascinated by this stuff. They're fascinated by those that just go off the hinges and do random garbage. It just makes them look foolish at the end of the day. It looks really cool, but until you realize that it's just a show and that they're just trying to make a mockery out of everything, then it turns out to be ridiculous. They've traded in Charlie Sheen for Hunter Biden, and it's the same kind of addiction, same kind of show that they try to put onto the American public, and this one's going to fail badly right now, which leads us to, did we call this one? We've had the guest on many times that's talked about this. We've speculated about it many times, and so many people have said, yeah, I don't think this is really going to happen, Andy, but I don't know.
What's trending today?
Now that the Bidens are on the way down, they're beginning to crash, they're beginning to crumble, they're beginning to just destroy themselves. They're in that spiral downward, which is why we're seeing the show that we're seeing right now. What's the replacement? We are 10 months away from election time, and I said that this is going to happen soon because, well, primaries are, I don't know, less than a week away, obviously, for the Iowa. We're just a little ways out from the New Hampshire, and then it just goes on from there. But Joe Biden, is he able to handle it? Now, on Friday last week, there was an article that showed that former President Barack Obama had made a comment that he is extremely concerned about Joe Biden and the race, about Donald Trump potentially winning again. You got to remember, Barack Obama lost his mind when he had to hand over power to Donald Trump, and he reversed essentially everything that he had done during the administration. There's been speculation for the last year or so that Michelle Obama may try to rise up out of the ashes and try to run for president, even though she has no political experience outside of being First Lady of the United States, and that she was going to continue on the Obama legacy. Well, in a podcast just recently, she said this.
What's going to happen in this next election? I am terrified about what could possibly happen because our leaders matter. Who we select, who speaks for us, who holds that bully pulpit. It affects us in ways that sometimes I think people take for granted.
She has not spoken out in a very long time. And just like Hillary Clinton, who rises out of the ashes, tries to peek her head out again to see if anybody pays attention to her, makes a mockery of herself, then goes back in because nobody likes her when she starts speaking, Michelle Obama has started to do the same thing. We haven't heard a word from her. In fact, all we hear about is how much she hates politics, how much she doesn't like politics, how much she doesn't want to be involved in politics, trying to make the point that she doesn't want anything to do with this. Barack Obama made the statement last week that he's extremely concerned about the election and how Donald Trump could beat Joe Biden because Donald Trump's beating him in every poll. The panic button has been hit among the Democrat ranks to make sure that Donald Trump cannot become president of the United States again. And who else do they have? They have Gavin Newsom, they have Gretchen Whitmer from Michigan, and they have Michelle Obama. And that's about the length of their strategy. So here's the theory on this program is there one of three things is going to happen now. Because Barack Obama made the statement last week. Michelle Obama was on a podcast just a couple days ago. And now we see another article that Barack Obama again has made the comment and has heard from numerous different people around his former administration showing making concerns about him possibly running or at least having someone run other than Joe Biden because, well, we can't have Donald Trump become president. Is Michelle Obama starting to jump in last minute to be the Gandalf, riding in the great white horse, saving the day at the end of the day when the battle is commencing right now, and then Gandalf shows up with the troops and we just save the day at the end of it? Is that what we're going to see from Michelle Obama? Because if so, one of three things is going to happen. She's either going to jump into the race and get all of the support and boost all the morale for the Democrats. She's going to run as a VP with Joe Biden, so that way Operation Joe Biden falls down the stairs while trying to tie his shoe happens after she becomes vice president and can take over. Or, well, I guess those are about the only ones. One of two options. But that would be interesting, huh? Michelle Obama now getting into the ring. What's going to happen there? Are we going to see a change in tide? The morale boost? And if so, they got to do it quick because she's got to get on the ballot. But if that's the case, then what does that do to the Democrats so far out from the election?
This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Hey, it's Andy Hooser. You know, when I get off the air every day, the battle for me against limited government, censorship, and even unfactual content is far from over. That's why now I'm so happy to say that the Hooser Media Network is giving you more opportunity to catch the voice of reason, along with other great shows and podcasts. It's been a long time in the works, and now you can finally enjoy more great content, services, and topical shows. We're the safe space for alternative talk, information, and ideas that the mainstream media absolutely hates, from holistic and alternative medicine, discussions on religion and spirituality, pure entertainment shows, and of course yours truly with the voice of reason. Plus, we offer numerous media services, including helping you set up your own podcast, become your own voice of reason, and bring your expertise to any fun issue or topic. For information on all of our shows, links to podcasts, each show website or social media link, or to find out about everything we do to challenge the mainstream establishment, visit our website at HooserMedia.com. Again, that's HooserMedia.com, the future of media. The Hooser Media Network continues to grow every single day with new shows, new content, and new information as we continue to fight the narrative against the mainstream and give you the alternative view of the world. The Hooser Media Network is home to great TV, radio, and podcasting programs on any topic of any interest. From politics and current events to religion and spirituality, holistic and alternative health, entertainment, motivational speakers, and so much more. And with the Hooser Media Network, you can enjoy more content from the voice of reason like this. For those that don't know your story, Mia, talk about your story, your upbringing, and the fact that you are a first-generation American, which becoming a first-generation American and becoming a congresswoman, that's an amazing American story right there.
That's the American dream. My dad was chased by a tonto-macoute, and those who really don't know what a tonto-macoute is, they were armed individuals. I call them thugs that served at the pleasure of the president or dictator in Haiti. And that was the Duvaliers. And no law applied to them. They had free reign to do whatever they wanted to. They could go into your home, eat your food, rape your families, and there would be no justice. They would walk out and be completely fine. And so when you were chased by one of these individuals, you didn't want to get caught. So my father jumped into a sewage pipe, and he stayed there, closed his eyes, and stayed there until the next morning. And when he went home, his mom was shocked to see him because she thought he had died. If a 14-year-old didn't come home at that time in Haiti, the chances are they weren't coming home. Wow. They didn't come home at night. That's the time when my father said, he remembers saying, he's going to go to America, the land of the free that he had heard about, where you could work as hard to be anything you want to be. If he wanted to, whatever he wanted to do, he could do it, but only in America. And he decided at the age of 14, when he raised a family, he was going to raise it in America. And he had worked very long and hard. You know what my dad said to me? I think it's really important that people hear this. My dad said to me just not too long ago, just the other day, he's like, you know what's sad? He said, I love America more than a lot of Americans do. And I said, well, Dad, what would make you say something like that? And he said, because I know what it's like to live outside of this country. Yeah. I know what it's like to run away from people who are supposed to protect you, but can do whatever they want. And there's no justice. I know what it's like to live in a country where government is bigger than people.
It's a scary thought, but he's absolutely right. I see that all the time myself. I don't know whether we take it for granted. We don't understand the greatness that we have in this nation. We have people that burn the flag left and right, that try to cuss it, that try to stand up for communist China, or that stand up for Cuba, and some of the dictators that stand up for these socialist nations. I don't know why we do it, Mia, but the big question is he said, like he said, he came here for the American dream, to work as hard as you can, and the more work that you put into it, the better benefits that you get out of it. Do we still have that society today? Is that American dream still alive?
Oh, I think it's not as available, and it's not because we attack the very thing that helps give the American dream, freedom. You have to have freedom to have the American dream. You have to have the ability of people to risk everything, to open up a shop, to provide an asset, whether it's a service or product that other people want. Our entrepreneurs are being attacked. Success is being attacked. I mean, these are the people, these small businessmen and women are the ones that gave my dad 3 jobs in order to make ends meet. And they're being attacked. In our taxes pay for things that do not really benefit us as individuals. I always, as a mayor, as a city council member, and even as a member of Congress, those dollars are sacred. I saw them as sacred.
Listen to all these programs and so much more as we try to bring back knowledge, wisdom, and truth back into the world. And we do that right here with the Hooser Media Network, the future of media.
When Reason Meets Radio. This is the Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Yes, indeed it is. Welcome back into it. Radio, TV, live streaming, podcasting, however you watch or listen to the show. Always wonderful to have you along for the ride, as usual, for a midweek celebration. Let's carpe diem all over this place, baby. It's what it's all about. So, had a message on the social media. Was it a Freudian slip about being an election or being selected? Well, I do have 2 words on the Democrat side, because depending on how they choose, and I use that for air quotes, how they choose their candidate, Michelle Obama or Joe Biden or Gretchen Whitmer or Gavin Newsom, whoever it may be, you have to remember the 2 words, super delegate, that the Democrats have in their primaries. So as a Democrat voter, I would be upset about that if I were on the Democrat Party. But you can have your voice. But remember, the elites, the elected officials, have a super delegate vote, which means they supersede you. And while there's obviously not that many in each state, it's enough to essentially choose your nominee for the Democrat side. So just throwing that little nugget out there for the Democrat listeners. You're welcome. You can send me your hate messages on our website at HooserReason.com. Let's shift gears here, shall we? I got to get his thoughts on this.
What's trending today?
It's been a while since we've had our next guest on the program. Really happy to have him on, as he is a podcaster. You can find it. And actually right now, for those, we're actually simulcasting on his YouTube channel right now and his podcast. As we speak, we're simulcasting the shows together, which is really awesome with his podcast, No Soundbites Allowed. Excited to have back on the program. Been a little bit since we've had him on, Mr. Michael Voss. Michael, how are you, my friend?
Hello, Andy. It's always good to be here with you and your audience. Yeah, we're simulcasting. I think there's a 5-second delay in my voice and what they're seeing on screen, but we'll make it work.
We'll make it work. I love it. Well, welcome to your listeners as well to the radio program. So that's awesome. There is so much. I said this at the beginning of the year, just a week ago, that 2024 was going to be a year that we need to hold on, strap in, buckle up, and get ready for, because it's going to be entertaining and fun. But, man, right out of the gate, we've had Epstein lists, we've had Michelle Obama, we've had the Biden investigations, we've had budget conversations, we've had aliens down in Miami. Like, Mike, we're starting off this year crazy this year.
Well, it has to be a crazy year because it's an election year, and 68% of Democrats don't want Joe Biden. They don't want Kamala Harris. And the media is in a frenzy. They're trying to fortify 2024 like they did 2020. The problem is we have a track record for President Trump. We have a track record for Biden as the elected official. And so when we're looking at that, we can see the failure. I mean, how do you cover up? How do you fortify Biden and make people want to vote for him when Llyod Austin, Defense Secretary of the United States, while 22 Americans are held hostage by Hamas and being sexually tortured as we speak, he's gone for a week. They didn't even know. Yeah. How inept are they?
Yeah, that takes things to another level. They used to criticize Trump for not having a handle on his executive side of government because he'd go through so many people. It was kind of a rotating door with so many. But this takes it to another level. What Trump was doing was getting rid of those who were trying to be just the normal politician. It's good enough for government work. Show up an hour late, leave an hour early, and don't do anything in between with an extended lunch. That was the difference between that and now, where we don't even know what's going on in D.C. because they're not even telling their bosses anymore.
Well, no, they're trying to cover everything up. They're so busy trying to distract us. I mean, Hunter Biden showed up today. I truly believe someone should give him another drug test. He may need to go to rehab because it's insane for him to think he can mock and flaunt the entire Congress, Democrats and Republicans alike, by showing up to his contempt meeting because he didn't show up to be under oath. So, and I love the comments from Nancy Mace. I think she really nailed it. But then he ran away because he wasn't under oath. Yeah. This is a distraction, so we don't think about the fact that inflation is up 16% under Joe Biden, and it is continuing to go up. We've been in a recession since August of 2022, that we have problems overseas massively. Iran, what is it? Today, the biggest strike by the Iran-supported Houthi rebels were attacking the United States in the Red Sea. It is escalating, and they want us distracted from that completely.
How is it the media can be so delusional with this? When we saw the walkout from Hunter Biden today, and CNN, we played a little bit of the clip just a while ago of them saying, well, he showed up and he's willing to work with Republicans in the House committee. He's willing to do this. And the fact that he showed up before and made a press statement and then left without walking in during the time he was supposed to be there. And now when he just randomly walks in, causes a scene, mocks the entire process, and then stand up and walks out right in the middle of it as well, and doesn't even say a word. His attorney makes a statement before they leave. How in the world does that result to, in the minds of the media and the Democrats as well? He's willing to work, and he's willing to work with the other side, but he just wants to do it in a public venue like this, and he's totally open to having this conversation. Like, how do you get to that conclusion?
Well, the only way they get there is by framing it as MAGA equals evil, that we have to be accused of being horrible. If you don't agree, you're the bad guy. Obviously, Hunter is a good guy because he's here. See? Don't remember 3 months ago. Don't remember the past. Remember just this moment and just these 30 seconds. And as long as you do that, they get to win. That's what they're counting on. They are assuming the American public are both dumb and have the memory of a goldfish, which I find to be very insulting. And it's the consequence of having failed policies for 3 years.
Do you think this is the last big hoorah for the Bidens before they're on the way out? They're on the decline. Joe Biden can't cognitively think about anything rationally anymore. Hunter Biden is about to be exposed for all the crime that he's committed, along with his dad and the entire family. Is this the last big hoorah before they go out? And I got to say, this is bad timing, I think, for them, when we're literally 10 months away from the general election, and we're just weeks away, less than a week away from one primary, but weeks away from primary season, where Democrats have to have their name on the ballot for the presidential race here relatively soon. Like, is this the last big hoorah before we hear the end of the Bidens?
No, because this is why it's happening now, so that by the time we get into the deep into the primary season, everyone's going to forget. Again, they assume you have the memory of a goldfish. So by the time we get there, they'll say, oh, it's been handled, it's been done. That's old news. We're dealing with the new news. You're not up to date. And that's why they're trying to get it all out as soon as they can. The problem is all of this isn't lingering. It's compounding the problems. It's like Joe Biden on September 1st, 2021, abandoned 5,000 Americans in Afghanistan. That was the green light that allowed Russia to go into Ukraine, where 10,000 Americans were abandoned by the Biden administration. That's when ISIS was released from the prisons in Afghanistan, went into Africa. That's why the Sudan is having a war right now, where 15,000 Americans were abandoned at the end of April of 2023. This is the legacy of Joe Biden and the domino effect of his policies, and they think you will not remember, but most of us do.
Yeah, most of us do. We're talking with Michael Voss. He is the host of the podcast, No Soundbites Allowed. You can find it on YouTube and other places, which, by the way, we're simulcasting on right now with the radio program and the podcast. Let's talk about the potential replacements. He continues to dwindle in the polls. Donald Trump above Joe Biden in majority of the swing states right now, and it continues to widen that margin even while they go after him, try to remove him from the ballot, which seems to be a complete disaster on their end. Then we hear this podcast just a couple days ago.
What's going to happen in this next election? I am terrified about what could possibly happen because our leaders matter. Who we select, who speaks for us, who holds that bully pulpit. It affects us in ways that sometimes I think people take for granted.
That was Michelle Obama. That came out just a day or so ago. That's directly after we hear the statement from Barack Obama himself saying that he's extremely concerned about the election as people are coming to him left and right, showing their concern for Joe Biden not being able to handle his own against Donald Trump. Are we seeing the peaking or the little dropping of the breadcrumbs of the potential transition to a Michelle Obama presidency in 2024?
I don't think it's going to be Michelle Obama because Gavin Newsom has been desperately running across the United States and into China trying to build up support and donors so that he could replace Joe Biden. And we know that RFK went independent, and he's been polling about 22%. He's been pulling away Democrats consistently. So if anyone, Gavin thinks he's got the inside route because he has the money. But I don't think any of this is going to happen. I think they're going to actually stick with him because they have built up this imagery. Yesterday, DW News, Deutsche Welle, a activist, professor of John Jay, Gloria Brown Marshall, was on there trying to say, you know what, if you elect Donald Trump, it's going to be World War III. When asked about that, she couldn't name who would he be fighting. She has no idea. She just knows Orange Man bad. They have built that up so much that they think that Biden will be carried by that. He's the good guy. That's why he was at Valley Forge. He's like George Washington. He's fighting for you. If they drop him now, nobody gets to pick up that same messaging, and then they lose.
Yeah,
but
that is
they're
very
going to
true.
lose anyway.
They're going to lose anyways. But yeah, I mean, there are two major alternatives that I think are going to happen, which, like you said, Gavin Newsom, because he's been gunning for it. But Gavin Newsom isn't beholden to the Obamas. He hangs out in a completely different realm of celebrities, which is why he's going over to China, trying to be bought out by them to run the country. I still think that there's got to be some type of Obama puppet, since they essentially pull the strings now, since they're the new Clintons. I don't know who else they have other than Joe Biden or a Michelle Obama, which either would run or become his VP candidate and then take over when Operation Joe Biden trips down the stairs while trying to tie his shoe commences, and she takes over after he gets reelected.
You could see Vice President Michelle Obama. That would be a Newsom-Obama ticket. That I think you could definitely see. Gets in the black vote, it gets in the woman vote, it gets the progressives from California, all of them excited. They all get in on that race. And, of course, all of them are younger than Joe Biden. But then again, who isn't? Maybe Mickey Mouse. That's about it. So, yeah, you could see that maybe happen, but I don't think she's going to be the headline, especially since I don't think Michelle, she's never been tested on the stage. No one has ever debated her.
Yeah.
Would you really want to risk it with her up on the stage against Donald Trump, and she's never had to actually answer a question before?
I don't think they would do it. I don't think they would do a debate. I think it would be like a Joe Biden last time. Well, he's too evil. He's too much of a narcissist, fascist, evil, whatever. We're not going to even debate him. So whoever the candidate is, I don't think there's going to be general election debates this year. It's going to be interesting. We're talking with Michael Voss. Got to take a break here. When we come back, we'll talk about January 6th. We'll talk about the platform for the Democrats and moving forward this year. Lots more coming up. Stay here.
The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Congress manages 12 different spending bills that make up to 27% of the federal budget. What about the rest of it? Family and small business budgets include all money in and out. It makes sense. How can Congress manage the budget if it's not all in one place? No wonder we face runaway spending, poor accountability, and rising debt. That's how we end up with 160 federal housing programs and 162 federal health care programs, many of which are never up for review. It's time Congress budgets more like a family or a small business, with everything in one place. Managing a real budget creates value for the people. It's what Congress is elected for. Here's what Congress needs: one comprehensive budget that includes it all. Better results, stronger oversight, and a more sustainable financial future for our country. To learn more, go to prosperityyispossible.com.
Andy Hooser here, reminding you not only can you listen to the Voice of Reason on your favorite radio station, but also check out the video of the program on TV and online. We're excited to be working with our partners over at OpsLens to bring the Voice of Reason live every day on their website at opslens.com, on the OpsLens app that you can download on any of your smartphones, or on any of the OpsLens social media. It's a great network that broadcasts multiple shows promoting truth, reason, and common sense, reaching thousands of viewers every day, all day long. Plus, while you're there, you can always watch some of the best highlights of the show during the weekends or read our latest opinion columns on topical issues of the day. Also, if you want to interact with me during the program, just leave a comment on their social media or the OpsLens app stream. You can always join the live chat rooms, or if it's easier, just email me at HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. Again, that's HooserMediaNetwork@gmail.com. This is your show, and we want to hear from you. Why? Because it's time for you to be your own voice of reason in your own community.
Race against the clock in Washington. We've been here before.
Congress will pass another bloated omnibus bill full of careless spending and special interest giveaways. This is unacceptable. It's time to stop crisis-to-crisis governing that always puts our country in lose-lose situations. Congress can fix this by ending the cycle of wasteful spending bills that hurt our economy. It's time to ensure that hardworking Americans have a responsible government working for them. Pass the Prevent Government Shutdowns Act before it's too late.
Hey, the live show may be almost over today, but it doesn't have to be for you. As always, enjoy The Voice of Reason with our daily podcast by finding The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser on any of your favorite podcasting sites. Just find us, subscribe, have it automatically downloaded, and listen at your convenience whenever you want to bring some more reason into your day. And a lot of people are doing it. Also, you can always find the video of the show, along with articles, additional commentary, and maybe a few sarcastic remarks by following us on our social media. Stay up to date with everything going on with the show, including upcoming guests, breaking news stories, interesting articles, and maybe some memes. Help us in the ongoing battle with censorship and shadow banning from social media by following us on the social media at Hoosier Reason on all of our social media sites. For all these social media links, podcast links, contact information, or just general information of the show, go to our website at HoosierReason.com. There you can listen live every day, read our latest monthly blog, find our radio affiliate list, or even listen to our latest infomercials and special content. Plus, you can always reach out to the program by sending me a message on social media, emailing us at HoosierMediaNetwork@gmail.com, or sending an email through our website at HoosierReason.com. Whether it's content on the show, whether it's a guest that you've liked or disliked, or whether you want to disagree with me, and disagreement's always appreciated. While you're there, make sure to sign up for our monthly newsletter. Each month, you'll get the latest update on the show, updates from the Hoosier Media Network, and our latest blog discussing topical issues of the day. Finally, if you want to help support the show, become a member of our Patreon site and help us fight for the cause of truth, reason, and common sense every day, and get more of the same by becoming the ultimate Hoosier-holic. Get additional interviews that sometimes we don't always get to air on the radio. Hear our special segments or even our infomercials before anyone else, and have a chance to chat with other great Hoosier-holics from all over. By becoming a Patreon subscriber, you're not only helping the fight for conservative values, you're helping us get more content and information out through the Hoosier Media Network. Find out more information online at HoosierReason.com. Lastly, follow and support all of our partners with the show. The Voice of Reason has been growing more and more every year, and it's because of so many great partners helping us get the message out to you. From show partners to local radio affiliates in your area to streaming sites, podcasting sites, and more, we have so many supporters and listeners now than ever before, and we want to thank you. It's time to bring back common sense, and we do it right here every day with the Voice of Reason.
Fighting for freedom every day. The Voice of Reason with Andy Hooser.
Yes, indeed it is. Welcome back into the program. Hanging out today for a midweek celebration. The way we do, there's a lot of stuff going on right now. There is the Hunter Biden shenanigans. Michelle Obama making her appearance in the public light, talking politics. Kind of fascinating there. What's the presidential race going to look like? Also, we have the big debate in the House right now, whether Republicans will get on board with the $1.7 trillion spending package. Yeah, that's a whole nother conversation. We'll do some more of that coming up tomorrow. We're hanging out right now. Michael Voss, the host of the podcast No Soundbites Allowed. You can find it on YouTube, and we are simulcasting on that channel and that show right now as well. Mike, let's shift gears a little bit. Let's talk about January 6th for a second, because that seems to be, there's no platform, there's no policy. You'd think when presidents run for a second term, they normally run a positive campaign of look at what we've done over the past 4 years. Look at how great things are right now. Look at what we've done. We want to continue this legacy. That's normally what someone running for re-election is, how they run and how they campaign is look at what we've done. Joe Biden came out on day one at doing his whole East Coast tour right now, talking about the Revolutionary War spots, Civil War spots, talking about he is the savior of democracy, and Donald Trump, when he gets into office, will essentially literally try to kill his political opponents and become a tyrant and destroy our democracy. That is an odd way to campaign to win over new voters, Mike, because sure, that may resonate with the hardcore Democrat voters, but how do you win anybody else into that realm with that kind of rhetoric?
Well, they're not really trying to win anyone. What they're trying to do is discourage anyone from showing up who wouldn't vote for the Democrats. And that's the big thing. You see, you're evil and you're wrong if you don't agree. Obviously, if you're supporting any kind of discourse, anything that's an unapproved message, like we saw on January 6th, well, then you must be the most evil person in the world. Think of it. 300,000 Americans were standing on or in the Capitol. If we have seen around the world, if you want to take over a country, you don't need 300,000 people. We had that. And now Joe Biden's in office. So obviously it wasn't an attempt at an insurrection. And let's be honest, as a riot goes, well, it's nowhere near anything we've seen from BLM and Antifa. Think about Minneapolis, $2 billion worth of damage over there. How many kids were killed in Austin, in Atlanta, in Portland, in Seattle? I mean, there is no comparison, but they have to make it seem that way to discourage people who would vote against Joe Biden and to try and maintain his ability to hold it together.
Yeah, what's weird about it is that that's what they run on now that we've seen the 40,000 hours worth of video or whatever it is that's been released on what really happened there. And sure, you can still pick and choose and cherry pick the violent parts of it, and the people that actually broke windows and try to do things violently, yeah, they need to have their, they need to be in trouble for what they did and vandalizing public grounds like that, sure. But when we see video of law enforcement literally opening doors, giving tours through the entire Capitol, and then they still get arrested, and we still have people that are in jail right now that have not been officially charged with anything. 3 years later after the incident, we've seen a complete failure in due process. We've seen a complete, like you said, corruption of what really happened there on what the media like to call was a quote-unquote mostly peaceful protest for the most part. So how can they run on this when the truth is out there now and that narrative seems to be dwindling?
Because they've changed the narrative. Very simply, remember when it was in November that when the Democrats were meeting together, there was the protest, the pro-Palestine, pro-Hamas left, circled D.C. and shut down the city, and that disappeared. Again, another act of insurrection from the Democrats. Well, that doesn't exist. Then they also try and change things. So as taking Trump off of the Colorado ballot, taking him off of the Maine ballot, what is that? That is an action, no due process. They've accused him of a crime which doesn't exist, and now they're punishing you and me for daring to want to exercise our First Amendment right to select him as a candidate in various primaries. That's a change. Now, what they're saying is, well, Donald Trump doesn't believe in freedom of choice, the freedom of voting. He doesn't believe in that, but yet they're the ones who are denying Americans the ability to choose who they want in an election.
Yeah.
They just change the narrative.
Change the narrative. They're the kids that like to change the rules of the board game as they're playing it because they begin to lose, and we see that day in and day out. It's going to be interesting to see when the Supreme Court ruling comes down on whether they can take him off the ballot for that insurrection. The fact that they're coming out with it relatively quickly because the primaries are coming up, I think, is a telltale sign, and that'll set the precedent for all of it moving forward as well. Mike, we're out of time, my friend. I love it. We got to get you back on here again real soon because there's a lot going on. Let's do this here soon, brother.
Southern border. Yeah, we'll definitely do it again.
There it is. Always doing it. Michael Voss. You can check it out. No Soundbites Allowed. You can find it on YouTube. Find it on all your favorite podcasting sites. Go check out the show. Great content going deep into the issues, which is what we try to do on this radio program, but in a more condensed version due to time restraints. That does it for us today. We're back at it again tomorrow for your pre-Friday celebration. Until then, be your own voice of reason. Be that catalyst for change. This is the Voice of Reason. I'm Andy Hooser. We'll see you on the radio. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. You know, when I get off the air every day, the battle for me against limited government, censorship, and even unfactual content is far from over. That's why now I'm so happy to say that the Hooser Media Network is giving you more opportunity to catch the Voice of Reason along with other great shows and podcasts. It's been a long time in the works, and now you can finally enjoy more great content, services, and topical shows. We're the safe space for alternative talk, information, and ideas that the mainstream media absolutely hates. From holistic and alternative medicine, discussions on religion and spirituality, pure entertainment shows, and of course yours truly with the Voice of Reason. Plus, we offer numerous media services, including helping you set up your own podcast. Become your own Voice of Reason and bring your expertise to any fun issue or topic. For information on all of our shows, links to podcasts, each show website or social media link, or to find out about everything we do to challenge the mainstream establishment, visit our website at HooserMedia.com. Again, that's HooserMedia.com, the future of media. Hey, it's Andy Hooser. I think everyone here can agree that.
Hello, everybody. Okay, I'm back with you here. This is No Soundbites Allowed. I am your host, Michael Voss, and we were just on with Andy Hooser, with the voice of reason, reaching out to, God, I think we reached more people in the middle of America than we usually do. I'm glad to have you all here with me. I hope everyone could hear me. Yeah, now you guys can hear me. And I thought it was a really good show. We got to talk about a lot of things. The one thing I wasn't able to talk with Andy was about immigration, illegal immigration. There are 8,000 illegal aliens that are approaching and about to enter the United States through the southern border, through the welded open gates that we have. The border wall is there, but the Biden-Harris administration welded the gates open. You can see that as an example at Lukeville, Arizona, where they welded it open and thousands of illegal aliens have entered America. We know for a fact that there is a caravan between 7,000, 8,000 people, many of them from Venezuela, from Angola, from Uganda, from China, are all coming into America. And don't be surprised if there's a lot of Palestinians in there as well. All of them are going to claim asylum, and none of them will be vetted, and they will be in your neighborhood very, very soon. That is also a very important issue. In fact, if you go to the YouTube channel and in the comments, you'll see that we have a poll that is going on right now. The poll is to say, if the election were today, what would be the issue that would be most important for you to vote? And we have things like J6, the economy, illegal immigration, a whole bunch of different choices there. Please choose one of those and tell us what you think is the most important issue that you, at this moment, that would make you vote for whomever you're going to vote for. What is that one issue? Most polls right now are saying that people are talking about the economy and or immigration, but maybe it's something different. I don't know. All without UFOs, yeah. I didn't get a chance to cover the UFOs either. But we got to talk about a lot of it. We weren't able to talk about the anti-Semitism that has been increasing at Harvard University, that we've been seeing increasing at all of the elite colleges. And you may have seen my video from yesterday where we had the John Jay professor, Gloria J. Brown Marshall, who was on Deutsche Welle, the German TV news, as she literally says, President Trump will cause World War III. And then when the anchor says, well, then who would he be fighting? If he's going to start World War III, an outrageous claim. But if he did, who's he fighting? And her answer, she had no answer. She couldn't figure it out. All she said is, well, you just got to understand that Trump is bad, and anyone who supports President Trump is bad. That's the messaging that we're getting consistently. And they're using things like Hunter Biden and this farce that happened in Congress today as an excuse. And then they're turning around and saying, well, you can't punish Hunter Biden for making a mockery of Congress. Mind you, this is going to affect Democrats as much as it's going to affect all of the Republicans. It's our Congress that he is mocking. It is the people's house, our government that he is mocking, and they're willing to allow it to happen to distract you from what is happening to our country. Inflation is up 16%. Illegal aliens are coming in swarms. We have individuals who are not being vetted that are coming to our nation, and potentially some of them may be a danger to us. We know this. We are escalating in the Middle East. Today, the news is out right now. The Iran-backed Houthi rebels out of Yemen have made the largest attack against the United States and our allies, including the United Kingdom, attacking our ships in the Red Sea. This is an escalation. This is what Iran promised, that they would attack the United States if we if we dared to try and get our American hostages back from Hamas, this is what they promised us back in October of 2023 and again in November and December of 2023. And here we are. And they're doing this because Joe Biden hasn't had the balls to stand up and say that we will retaliate and we will not just deal with the terrorist groups that are being funded by Iran, but that we are going to deal with Iran directly. The root of the problem is Iran. The Houthis, Hezbollah, Hamas, they are symptoms of the problem, which is the terrorism supported by Iran. And they don't want you to hear this. They don't want you to think about this. Let me see in the comments here. Dal asked, and we covered this 2 days ago, there was a problem in the Bronx where water mains nearly broke several buildings. Several buildings nearly collapsed because of pressure built up in the water mains overnight in the Bronx. And to answer, we sent out a letter to every single elected official in New York City, in the Bronx. We sent it to the city council, to the assembly, the state senator. We sent it to our congressional representative of the 36th district, Richie Torres. We also sent it to Mayor Adams. Not one of them has explained or assured the public that the water is safe in the Bronx. And I, for one, continue to boil water on a regular basis because we're not sure the water is safe. And mind you, there are 2 elementary schools in the affected area that may be affecting children, and they do not want to assure parents that those kids drinking water in those elementary schools are safe. They don't want to go on record on this. That tells you something. So to answer that question for you, Dow, there was also a question that was, they're saying that Hunter can do it because Jim Jordan and Steve Bannon did it. So because one person did something bad, another person can do something bad? That's stupid. What are we? Are we in kindergarten? I mean, seriously, well, he did something bad, so I can do something bad too. This is something I would expect from a child. That's not a political argument. That's not a legal argument. That is not an argument that should be in the halls of Congress. Well, your guy did something bad, so my guy can do something bad. No, that's stupid. Either the law applies to everyone, and I would say anyone that violated a subpoena should be punished for that. There is a reason. It is our Congress. When the Congress calls you in, you punish them. I said that about Hillary Clinton. She destroyed subpoenaed documents. She should be held accountable. Democrats were perfectly okay with that. So if you want to go back and say, well, your guy did something, so our guy can do it, Hillary Clinton was destroying subpoenaed documents. Joe Biden had documents, classified documents, since the 1970s. Does that justify Steve Bannon and Jim Jordan? No. But if you're saying your guy did something bad, so our guy can do something bad, there you go, tit for tat. It never ends. It's a stupid argument. That does not absolve Hunter. He, regardless of what anyone else did or did not do, Hunter Biden was given a subpoena. He did not appear. He is in contempt. During his contempt trial, he doubled down on the contempt and mocked Congress, daring them to take action against him by showing up, not under subpoena, showing up and then leaving when the hard statements were being made, when the evidence was mounting against him, and then he ran away. And Nancy Mace was correct. He is a coward. Yes, Marjorie Taylor Greene was correct in saying that he was a coward. He ran away. It was all meant to be a stunt to try and distract from the actual issues. And so that's the way I look at that. I just do not find any value in what the Democrats are saying. Oh, well, your guy did something bad too. Who cares? That's not the issue at hand. It's not about that. Let me see here. So that's one of the things that are going on. Let me see. And I'm just trying to keep up. So we covered a lot of that. By the way, folks, do let me know. How did you like Andy's show? Andy has a pretty good show. He covers a lot of information. Even though he has commercial breaks he has to keep up with, he's national syndication, so those are required. He has a lot of hard breaks he has to make. But I think he covers a lot of great information in that time. And I've known Andy for a couple of years now. I've been on the show before a couple times as well. And I think Andy does a great job of really trying to condense a lot of the information that obviously I'm not restricted. I don't have the same syndication limits. So we take a lot more time to go through all the issues with you to really flesh out every little detail and to remember the things that the media does not want you to remember, the things that they want you to forget so that they can keep lying to your face, essentially. I mean, remember, it was Joe Biden who said on September 1st of 2021, all the Americans came home from Afghanistan. Lo and behold, in 2023, you had Anthony Blinken speaking to Congress, admitting that over 1,000 people were, after that point, after September 1st of 2021, 1,000 more people came home from Afghanistan because they were abandoned by the Biden administration, and that number is actually closer to 2,000 to 3,000. They're only counting the people that the United States government helped in some way. Private Christian groups helped another roughly 2,000 Americans that were abandoned to come home. There's still 5,000 more that are there. And in that same conversation, in I believe it was March or May of 2023, Anthony Blinken also confirmed that there are approximately 175 Americans that are being tortured in Afghanistan. So even if you want to go with Biden's original statement, there's only 100, which we know is factually incorrect from the Biden administration itself. We know there's 175 that are being tortured as we speak, and his inaction there is the reason why Hamas has 22 Americans that they are torturing and sexually abusing right now. And that's why in the news, you never hear American news talking about the number of hostages. They don't mention how many British hostages were taken by Hamas. They don't mention how many Japanese, how many Nepalese, how many Americans are held hostage. They don't want you to know that number. They want you to think it's not a problem. Because if you know that there are American hostages, whether it's in Hamas, in Gaza, or whether it's in Afghanistan, Americans always get our people back. We've gone to war over things like that. And so they would expect, you would demand that our commander-in-chief would take stronger action to bring our people home, so they can't talk about it. That's why 15,000 Americans are still stranded in the Sudan, and that's just terrifying. You want to support Joe Biden, that's fantastic, but understand he is abandoning Americans in the tens of thousands. He has absolutely no compassion. He has no empathy. He does not care about you. And I say that because 30,000 Americans under the Biden administration have been abandoned around the world. We have hundreds of Americans that are being tortured because Joe Biden won't do anything about it because they are inept. How do I know they're inept? Because Llyod Austin had a week out of the limelight. He was in a hospital, and the Biden administration did not know their defense secretary. Defense Secretary for the United States was not at his job for a week. How do you not know he wasn't there? Your emails weren't being responded to. Your phone calls were going empty. The international leaders and counterparts around the world were not able to talk to him. Everything that he deals with went to a standstill, and they had no idea. How inept are you? And we're supposed to re-elect that? Let me see the comments here. Do you have any thoughts to the hypocritical argument during one of the Trump hearings determining whether Trump possesses immunity, while in office for the acts that he has taken? The answer is presidents have immunity while they're president. And every president has had immunity, and no president up until now, the new precedent, legal opinion going forward has changed. But up until President Trump, no president, no matter what they have done, were they ever held accountable during or after their presidency. That was considered a standard, a Bible. It was the legal opinion that you just, no matter what happened, you let it go. Even if they violated, even if there were crimes, you let it go. We now have a new rule that Democrats are putting in place that presidents will be held liable. They're trying to remove that immunity. And here's the danger of that. That means that presidents, if they do this, then every president going forward will have to worry about going to jail because they have to make snap decisions that may or may not be in the gray area of interpretation of law by any various group or nation around the world. It is a tightrope, and you don't know the consequences of every action that you take. We assume that they're always working in the best interest of the nation. That doesn't mean that's what they do. And sometimes the interpretation they use to do whatever it is they're doing isn't exactly the one that matches the law or legal precedent. Every president will have to second guess everything they say, everything that they do for fear of being prosecuted the day they get out of office, which means it will kill their efficiency, it will kill their effectiveness, and it will impede their ability to have international negotiations with this idea that I'm going to jail because I had a conversation with, I don't know, Iran or with Russia or with China, which are necessary. So it's a dumb idea when people say, oh, well, we have to arrest Trump. You're talking about arresting every president from now going into the infinity. Every president will have an issue that you can then point to and say, hey, they should be arrested for this. That was illegal. That crossed the line. Obama decided to make DACA. He unilaterally decided that illegal aliens were now no longer illegal and they could live and work in America. That's not a decision that he could do by an executive order. That is overstepping his bounds. That is criminal based on our laws. And so he could be prosecuted for that. He never was. No one even considered it. Why? Because he was president. And that was an executive order, which was then rescinded by President Trump in part. So we didn't even consider that. But every president going forward has to if there is no immunity. This is a horrible way to deal with this. I understand it's a problem when presidents overreach their powers and they take actions we do not agree with. But that's why we vote. That's why we have representatives. That's why there's a Congress and a Supreme Court, because the president isn't the final answer about anything. And we do have the power of impeachment when wielded properly to impeach a president while they're in office if they have done something that is egregious, that is not just treasonous, but a high crime. That's why we have that process. So that if they did do something that is criminal, something that is dangerous, something that is illegal, we have a way to remove them and fix the problem, to resolve the issue. Now it's a political tool. They're not thinking about what the consequences are. They're trying to maintain power right now and convince people not to vote against Joe Biden. And I think it's a weak argument. Does that answer your question, Dal? Yeah, YouTube likes to censor a lot of things. Like last Friday when they wiped out my live stream. Matter of fact, Dal, you were on with us. They wiped out the live stream based on the last 3 seconds of a 3-hour conversation with the Liberty First Foundation, the Friday night roundtable, 9 p.m. it starts. And they wiped out the entire live stream for 3 seconds, the last 3 seconds, and said, oh, well, it violated our guidelines. And by the way, guideline they claimed was holding a firearm. And they gave us the link to their guideline on firearms. And by the way, the guideline on firearms does not prohibit someone to hold or display a firearm. So the very reason they claimed why they were going to delete a live stream was invalid. And by the way, the timestamp, if you went to the timestamp, there was no firearm on the screen. So it was completely invalid. It was just meant to, one, hope that we would not follow up and they would delete the entire conversation that they did not like politically, or to try and make us feel intimidated and abused, harassed, in other words, and that would stop us from being able to speak in the future. Do you want to keep going through this harassment? We're going to just harass you. Randomly deleting various things you do and the work that you put in, we're just going to take it away and delete it, and we'll make up reasons on the fly to justify it. This is how you chill the First Amendment. This is how you take away people's freedom of speech. And it isn't working on me. As you can see, we fought that. We got the live stream back up, although it's not back with the Liberty First Foundation, but it's back on my channel. And I am continuing to do live streams. I don't care what they want to do. So we've covered a few different things. I know we should have been live on Rumble as well. I'll check that in just a moment to see that that was covered. But I just wanted to take an opportunity today, since we were going on with Andy, we were reaching a broader audience. I thank everyone who was with Andy, listening to the show, that listened to me. If you have questions, please leave them in the comments. I'll be happy to answer every question that you have. That's a valid question. You know, if you're telling me, Mike, why are you so evil? I don't care. That's not going to get an answer. But if you say, you know, Mike, why do you believe that Gloria J. Brown Marshall was wrong with DW, and why do you think that Michelle Obama will not be running for president? I'll be happy to answer that. So that's a couple things. We will be back on Friday for the Friday Roundtable at 9 p.m. We will be back Sunday for the Sunday live stream at 2:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And until then, I want to thank everyone. Had a great time talking with Andy Hooser. Please check him out weekdays, 5 to 6 p.m. every weekday. He does a great show. I enjoy talking to Andy, and I look forward to hearing from everyone again very, very soon. Thank you.